cloud. Okay. So you were telling me about this relationship, or it's not a relationship yet, where you met somebody, you're texting back and forth or chatting on Messenger, whatever. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking a lot.
And you mentioned to me, this is why I got a little bit concerned, because you had mentioned to me that, you know, he seemed to have a lot of good qualities. He's into a lot of, you know, spiritual things, psychology and all of that. And that's great. But the thing that concerned me was that you were chatting for 4 hours.
Okay.
And this is something that, you know, and I've made this mistake in the past. I have, you know, really put a lot of my time, my energy, but do you see how we don't think of this as overgiving, but it is, because
Okay.
you're investing your time in this person that you really don't know, you may or may not ever meet. And it really plays into our need for safety, and, you know, because it feels safe, right?
Yeah. It does feel safer.
Yeah. Because like, I'm afraid to meet him because what's going to happen when he meets me, right? But whatever's going to happen, in order for you to have a real relationship, you're going to actually have to meet him anyway. And so if you're afraid of being rejected or whatever that fear is, I mean, if he's going to reject you for being you as you are, you need to like get that out of the way, because
Okay.
and even maybe even change that word, like the word rejection. It's not, it's just, if you're not his cup of tea, let's find that out now instead of you going, because otherwise what could happen is you could go on. I mean, I've had women tell me, oh, we've been texting, chatting, whatever, for months.
Okay.
Without meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, do you see, you know, like if you were to write down how many hours a day that you spend thinking about him, chatting with him, you know, all this energy is going right towards one guy. And if you think he can't feel that, oh yeah, he feels it. So you're and the more you invest in him, the more angry and heartbroken you're going to feel if and when you actually do meet and your worst fears come to reality, because you're actually creating that.
Okay. But how do I broach the topic of meeting up? Because it's kind of, I feel a bit awkward doing that when I'm the woman and
Right.
he's supposed to make that kind of suggestion.
Sure. Yes. And this is a question that comes up a lot, because, you know, we think, well, if I'm the feminine partner here, I'm supposed to just lean back and he's supposed to do everything. But remember, the feminine also is responsible for the setting of boundaries and standards in the relationship. And if your standard and your boundary is like, I am not going to invest my time, my precious time, in someone who I've never even met, never even have you had a video call with him yet?
No.
Okay, see, there would be the first baby step, is just video call. You know, we used to get on the phone. I don't know of anybody that does that these days, but believe me, the first step would be, because, you know, I've had women say to me, well, geez, I was chatting with him for all this time and it seemed like we had so much in common. And yet the minute they hear his voice and hear how he really talks, it was like a completely different, it was a big turnoff. Like it was totally different actually hearing his voice and how he actually interacts in a conversation.
Mhm.
There's so many elements of that that you don't get to know until you actually, have a real conversation.
Yeah. I mean, but what do you think the time limit is? Because obviously you have to, I mean, I've just met this person, so I like, what do you think is a good, because you don't want to just meet up with someone straight away because they might just want sex. So for me, I feel like it's good to have this time to get to know him, but like, what's the amount of time that you should kind of be okay to text, like he has a child as well, so he's got his child with him at the moment. So we have talked about like meeting up next week, but it's
Okay.
nothing's planned, so
Okay. So that needs to get like really planned,
okay.
a for sure thing.
Yeah.
And I would still say to him, it's been really fun. I feel really good chatting with you.
Hmm.
And it would feel so good to, if we could do like a video chat so I could actually hear your voice
Hmm.
and just, and then you can say, what do you think?
Okay.
Let him, that would be the feminine way to do it.
Hmm.
But you see, you're still subtly setting a boundary
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
because I don't know, to me, I would do that because you don't want to waste a lot of time. Now, if you get him on video chat and you see he is the person that he
Yeah.
is supposed to be, first of all,
Mhm.
um, and you still like him, and you can keep it, short. You can just say, do you have, like 10 or 15 minutes that we could just video chat for a little while?
Mhm.
Because one thing about the time, the reason I discourage talking for a long time, whether it's chatting or video calling, is that sometimes, it's like you want to have a slow burn. You want to let things develop slowly and naturally,
Mhm.
and not, because otherwise what we end up doing is it happens subtly and we don't even realize that we're reverting back to a habit that started way back in childhood, which is, I've got to show him. I've got to, this anxious
Mm.
thing comes up, like, I've got to show him that I'm really smart and I'm really, and we become almost like we're trying to sell ourselves when we really, there's no need to do that.
Okay.
So if you can limit the time, and it makes him want you even more.
Mhm.
When you
Okay.
can say, look, it's been, and you can be warm about it and just say, oh, it's been so nice chatting with you. This has
Mhm.
been really nice. And I'd love to talk to you again. But, I really got to get going.
Mhm.
And then say bye and send him a little smiley or whatever. But, in other words, be very warm about it.
Yeah. Okay. I'll try to suggest this video call like, as a baby step.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if not, then I'll just like suggest that we meet up in person soon, like and for next week at some point.
Well, first of all, here's the thing.
Yeah.
If he refuses to do a video chat, I would wonder why.
Okay.
Or if he changes the subject, or if he,
Yeah. Yeah.
I would circle back around and say, again, just become like a broken record. Yeah, I this is really nice chatting with you. It's wonderful. And I would so love to hear your voice. Can we do like a quick FaceTime? Or,
Mhm.
I mean, how hard is that? How much effort does that really take him?
None.
Exactly. And
You doing it this time now?
look at your cat. Oh, how cute. Um,
Jealous, talking about other men.
oh, he's jealous.
Yeah.
So he's going to put his butt right in her face.
Yeah.
But do you see, because otherwise you could end up spending so much time chatting with, thinking about, and then our minds go off and planning the future. We're always either planning the future or going into the past and what might happen, all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to be really focusing on your business and your life first and foremost,
Mm-hmm.
what's important to you, and not falling for somebody who right now is just a fantasy. We don't know if this is going anywhere at all.
Okay.
But this is just a way that I would suggest you to just take baby steps
Okay.
and see what happens. And then, you mentioned something about, you're afraid of sex happening too soon. Well, first of all, you're going to meet him in a public place, right?
Yeah.
And if you know going into it, see, first of all, you have to know, what is my standard here?
Okay.
What is going to happen and what isn't going to happen? What standard do I need to set? And that is kind of based on mistakes that you've made in the past, and you don't want to repeat the same thing, but you have learned.
Mm-hmm.
So learning from those mistakes and knowing that you as a young woman are going to be very, very bondable when it comes to bringing sex into the picture.
Mm-hmm.
You will bond very, very quickly
Mm-hmm.
because your brain is run on estrogen.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing all of this, again, we as women have to set the boundaries, what will and will not happen, which means you have to know before even going in.
Mm-hmm.
So in order to make sure that those boundaries do not get crossed, we meet in public, right?
Yes. Okay.
And I know with COVID, oh my goodness.
He can tell when I'm not focused on it.
Oh boy.
Yes.
I know with COVID, it might be somewhat difficult, but there's got to be.
No, I think that makes sense. It's just, I live in Berlin, and there's like this culture of just having sex with people straight away, and I know that this person does not expect that of me, but at the same time, I feel like there's kind of pressure, to be physical straight away. So I know what you mean about meeting in public. Like there are places that we could definitely go in public. I know it's kind of weird. It's like in some respects you have to take the lead as the woman, and then in other respects you have to lean back, and sometimes it's really confusing to know. Sorry.
Here's the way I look at it. You are letting him take the lead. However, you are saying, okay, and here's where the boundary is.
Okay.
So in other words, he should be the one who is asking you out, right? But you have to be the one to say, no, I'm sorry, it's kind of my standard that I don't go to a man's house when I first met him. That's just something that I don't do. So you step in, he makes the invitation, but you counter back with, yeah, it would be really fun to meet you in person. However, I would feel more comfortable meeting you, especially for the first time. We can meet it, and maybe have someplace in mind that you can suggest.
Yeah.
What if we meet at the coffee shop or, whatever? So it's not, you're not leading, but you are countering and saying, okay, I'd love to see you. Yes. And here's my boundary.
Okay. It's like being the goalie, in football. You're like,
yeah,
no.
Exactly. Did you watch the Olympics?
No.
Well, I watched the water polo, and so I was watching the goalie, and she had to try to catch the ball as it's trying to get through. And yeah, you can think of it that way.
Yeah,
It's
you're
like,
playing defensive rather than offensive, maybe.
yeah, kind of.
A bit, you know, like that's, yeah, like you're trying to.
You're just kind of letting him know, okay, here's my standard,
Mm-hmm.
you know, whatever, and without making him wrong or guilty or, you know, getting mad at him for asking. But at the same time, you're letting him know, okay, this is who I am. This is how I do things.
Okay. And like in terms of messaging and communication, do you think that he should always be initiating the conversations?
No, not always. I would just generally, and this is just a general rule, it should be more like 2 to 1.
Okay.
Like let him initiate most of the time, but you know, you can every now and then initiate, but just so that you're not always the one,
Mm-hmm.
because then he's going to feel like you're chasing him.
Okay.
And remember too that, you know, at some point, you know, men do take a break. It's, you know, and a lot of women think, oh, I got ghosted. Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
But if you're dating more than one man, talking to whatever more than one man, then you're not going to be, oh, what happened to him? You know, you're not going to be focused on him. So you're slipping into dangerous territory when you start focusing all of your attention on one guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving him all the power.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, because then all of a sudden he stops texting. What's going to happen? I'll be talking to you and you'll be crying because he disappeared. And, you know, and I'll be like, well, why didn't you have guy number 2, 3, you know?
Okay.
Really, I know it might seem like a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
and just in general, you want to be just a little bit more open, a little bit more flirtatious with all men.
Okay. Okay.
Not, you know, not necessarily just guys that you're interested in. You know, use all men as kind of a practice, you know.
Mm-hmm.
What's nice about that guy? What could I find one nice thing about that guy? Oh, you've got such a nice smile.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just practice being complimentary, you know, somewhat flirty, but not,
Mm-hmm.
because you've got to feel safe again with being flirty and knowing that that doesn't have to mean anything,
Mm-hmm.
right? Some women are just flirty just to be flirty.
Okay.
Men love flirting, but you have the veto, the right of the veto. No, the boundary.
Mm-hmm.
And when you get more sure about that, then you won't.
I won't be so scared to meet up with somebody in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you know where your boundaries are. See, this is something that you have to decide. Is my boundary, you know, a certain level of commitment? Where is that boundary going to be? And at the same time, the more that you do the inner work around, you know, healing your inner child, healing all of the neglect that caused you to be more of anxiously attached.
Mm-hmm.
As you do that, and to the extent that you do that, it does get a lot easier.
Okay, to set the boundaries.
Yeah, to set the boundaries and to not need to have as much, you know, the fantasy.
Okay.
Because and like I said, believe me, I've made these mistakes where, you know, and I didn't realize until like I did a lot more healing that, oh my gosh, I was actually unconsciously engaging in these fantasy relationships because it was just easier. I didn't have to really risk getting my heart broken or risk the rejection as much. Or, a fantasy relationship is really easy, right? Because you don't have any day-to-day stuff that you actually have to talk about and deal with. Because it's just all a fantasy.
Mhm.
And the other thing, something that you said the other day, you mentioned something about like in your soulmate, the person that you want to attract, and it just caught my attention.
Okay.
You said something about like, one of the things you mentioned was somebody that just knows what I'm thinking, that just knows, what I'm thinking and how I'm feeling. We don't really have to talk that much.
Yeah.
That kind of put up a red flag for me, and I'll tell
Okay.
you why.
Okay, tell me.
I think you already know why.
Because you need to communicate your boundaries. Is that? And you need to, I don't know, tell me.
Yeah, well, you got your thumb right on it, because yeah, I can understand how you would want to, because I remember when I was in my 20s, oh my God, and this still happens. I actually saw a video on YouTube about this. They were making fun of Hispanic women. The whole video was like making fun of how with Hispanic women, how they are when they get mad. And the thing was, the guy's in the car with his girlfriend, and he's like saying, honey, what did I do? Please tell me what's wrong. What did I do? And she's just like, well, if you don't know, then you don't even really know me. It's kind of like this attitude, like if you actually loved me, you would know exactly what is wrong. I would never have to speak to you about it, right? That kind of thing. And it's just, we have to be careful, because I know a lot of us didn't have role models for how
Yeah.
to speak to a partner. We have no idea, like, what would that actually look like, but we have to learn. And expecting him to be psychic, or expecting you, I mean, I know you're psychic, I'm psychic, but if I had to, if he were to put that on me in the relationship, like, well, you should have known, you're a psychic, that would really piss me off.
Okay, true. Yeah.
No, just because you're psychic, and just because we do have this really strong connection, and we, a lot of times we do know what the other's thinking and feeling, and that's wonderful.
Yeah.
But to count on that all the time and expect them and get mad at them if they're not knowing 100% of the time what you're thinking and feeling, that just makes craziness. you know
No,
so
that totally makes sense. It's like you can't, yeah, I get it. You can't expect somebody to like just know what you're thinking.
yeah, I mean, not 100% of the time.
Yeah.
um
He's staring at me. I know what he's thinking though. Just staring at me over the computer like, you're ignoring me. You're not ignoring you now.
Oh, but why? He didn't do this before.
What? Loki.
I mean, I've seen him on video before a little bit, but he
it's because talking about another guy. He knows. He just knows. Yeah. They all know. I swear to God, as soon as another guy's in the picture, they can sense it,
Wow.
They have a sixth sense, even cats.
Wow. Well, there might be something to that, because animals are so sensitive to what you're thinking and feeling.
Yeah.
And here you met this guy, and you may already be sending him so much energy.
Yeah.
And your cat would feel that.
Yeah, he does. He's looking at me now like he's okay. He's like this. He's like, come on, rub my belly. Look,
so now he's getting needy now.
He's like, look how fluffy. This is what he does when he wants attention. He's like, look how cute my belly is. Look at this. See?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got one that does that too.
Really? I know him very well. I know what you're saying. Actually, it's good because, I I met this really, and he is like a really beautiful person from what I can tell so far. Okay, so that I don't want to like I feel like I maybe have jumped too far ahead of myself. Um, and I really like this guy, and he's very genuine and spiritual, and so there's kind of like an easiness there. But internally, I've been very anxious since I met him, and I thought it's just because, oh, I want to take it slow this time. I don't want to jump in, but there's a huge anxiety there about getting hurt again, and I don't really know how to handle it, you know? So it's like, in one way, it feels great. It's like, oh, I've met this really nice guy. This is a potential. Like, this is kind of so much nicer than the person that I was so upset about last week. But I'm also aware of the fact that, like, I have anxious attachment. I'm jumping into being focused on yet another person. And there's all this anxiety there. And I don't really know how to deal with this anxiety, you know? I'm trying to sit with it and trying to talk to the anxiety and trying to
Well,
accept it.
tapping,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, whenever you find yourself thinking about him, just start and let the anxiety come up and just start tapping.
Okay.
Because when, you know, when you're feeling that anxiety coming up, you're going into fight or flight.
Yeah.
And what kind of decisions come out of that state of mind?
Very bad ones.
Exactly. That's when we do the, you know, they call it the drunk dialing or the drunk texting or whatever. Bad decisions are made when you're either drunk or in your fight or flight.
Yeah.
There's nothing good going to come out of that. So manage your feelings
Okay.
and just take things slow. And the thing is, the wonderful thing about it is if you will kind of, you know, pump the
Back.
brakes a little bit. I like to think of it that way. Like if you're
Okay.
driving, just pump the brakes. Okay,
Okay.
we got to slow down just a little bit.
Okay.
And always being warm and just saying, you know, this feels really good talking to you, chatting with you, whatever.
Yeah.
However, I got to go right now. Or, you know, I'm really feeling sleepy right now.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, you know, this we do this over giving. It happens in such a sneaky way.
Yeah.
It starts out with just, you know, well, we chatted for 4 hours, and then it's like, oh, we went on a date and we talked for hours and hours and hours, and it's like, whoa, wait a minute, because you've got like a lifetime. You've got, you know, real intimacy builds over
Okay.
time.
Hmm.
Real intimacy, not, you know, the crazy stuff.
Yeah. But I think the anxiety is like anxious attachment. So it's kind of,
Mhm.
it's like get paired up straight away. Be with this person now, you know, get this reassurance that he wants to be with you straight away. And uh also at the same time, don't mess it up and don't get rejected. So it's really hard. It's like
Yeah.
it does take over a lot of my brain space as well, you know. It's not him necessarily, but the anxiety around men and meeting men. um so it's good to have this talk and just kind of like realize, not necessarily about like actively trying to date loads and loads of other guys right now, but just being open
Yeah.
to spending more time with men and other people and not just fixate on this one person. Yeah.
Yeah. And remember the visualization we did,
Yeah.
you up on your pedestal.
Yeah.
You're sitting in your throne. You are the queen.
Hmm.
See, when women right away start saying, oh, this guy is my soulmate, guess what you've just done? You have actually put him up on a throne and you're down there
Yeah.
taking crumbs, trying to get him to notice you. And it
Oh,
should be the other way around.
yeah.
Because men, the masculine, naturally wants to fight for a woman. He wants to work for her and to win her. That's a masculine trait.
Okay.
And
Uh,
so if you're putting him up on that pedestal, you're actually putting him in his feminine energy, which you don't want.
No. I mean, like I have gotten asked out on other dates with two guys, and I just kind of didn't really respond because I don't know, because again, I was getting hung up on this one person. So, and I'm also worried that if I meet up with these guys, that they're going to want me to kiss them. And I don't know if I'm going to feel like that, you know? So.
Know where your boundaries are. That's all.
Okay.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And just know ahead of time, okay, if he tries to do this, what are you going to say?
Just say I like to get to know, like, it's really nice to spend time with you and it's nice getting to know you, but I really like to get to know someone very well before we start getting physical. And just say that. Yeah.
And a good one is just, I'm just not comfortable.
I'm just not comfortable.
No one can argue with that. And
Yeah.
if they do, probably not somebody you want to be with.
Okay.
Because if something makes you feel uncomfortable, the masculine, normally a healthy masculine man is not going to want to do anything that makes you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, none of that. Because if he does, that's to me a red flag. Like if he's still, I mean, yes, he might persist or whatever to a point, but when you continually tell somebody, my rule is like 3 times. Like if I have to say it the 3rd time, like I'm not, like I'm going broken record on you already.
Yeah.
If I have to say it the 3rd time, like I'm out of here.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you do have to, you set your boundary, but sometimes setting that boundary means, okay, it's time for me to say goodbye now and go home. Not necessarily in anger, but we've reached a point where it's time for me to leave. Because sometimes if you say, I'm not interested in sleeping with you, but yet you still stay there, you know what I mean? Of course, that's further down the line. That's like if you're in his apartment or whatever, which you shouldn't be anyway. If you don't, somebody you're meeting for the first time, you should not even be in his apartment, in my opinion.
Like, no, it's dangerous.
Yeah, it's dangerous, and setting a boundary by itself may not work because you don't even know who this person is. You don't know if that's the kind of man who is going to take a boundary.
Yeah.
Respect that. So, yeah, just being more open to other men, taking, getting attention from other men. And these other guys, you might want to say, well, okay, let's meet for coffee. The other ones that you said were asking you out.
Yeah.
Now, if they don't want to meet for coffee, then you might be right. They might be into something else.
Okay.
And that's okay. Let them go. Or they'll just move on. Right? But they're not right for you. See, instead of you being so worried about them rejecting you, I want you to be on the other side of things and say, no, I am the queen on the pedestal. I am up here and I'm looking down and there's thousands of men down here. And I get to filter them out. I get to set the standard. This is what I'm looking for. Not, is he going to pick me? No. Do I choose him? You see the difference?
Yeah.
It's not about them picking you. Because the truth is, you don't really, I mean, their opinion of you shouldn't really be that big of a deal. It really shouldn't, because when you think about it, he's actually a stranger.
Yeah.
You had a nice chat for 4 hours, which I wish you wouldn't have went that long, but hey, it's over. You did that. But from here on, just be more mindful of how much time and energy am I giving out to this person that I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. Because, we get hurt to the extent I think the thing that hurts us the most when it's all said and done, and tell me if I'm right about this, is, oh my God, I gave so much to this guy. And I can't believe he did this to me.
Yeah, that is true.
Because all the time I thought about it, it's not even, I mean, it's anger at him, but doesn't it come down to, I'm really pissed off at me?
Yeah.
Because I really gave and gave and gave of my time. I was thinking about him all the time. I made him my focus. I made him my world.
Yeah, that is true. And like, okay, so if sorry, if you realize that you're focusing too much on someone else, like, do you like, and it's kind of like normal, like, because for me, it's very normal to find someone, fixate on them, focus on them. Like, how do you suggest kind of like reading that back in? Like, do you do meditation? Do you spend more time with yourself? Do you just actively turn your phone off? Like what are some ways to kind of, get back to you and just not be so focused on them? Because I think that's another reason I'm so anxious, is because there's like this inner child part is like, no, what about me? Take care of me. You finally have time for me. And I know that that's been a problem in the past. I've been looking so hard for someone else to love me that I haven't been taking care of myself. And I am like not neglecting myself, but I could see how it can become self-neglect and self-abandonment,
Yeah, and like I said, it's really sneaky because we don't think.
No, I wouldn't think of talking like as overgiving, but it's good to have this conversation because it's good for me to practice kind of not having a fantasy situation, basically, and just yeah.
Well, and I think, no matter, like, no matter where you're at in a relationship, even to a married woman, I would say the same advice. Like, pull your attention off of this man.
Mm-hmm.
Stop waiting for him by the door when he comes home from work or whatever. Stop all that. Focus on you. Make the best life that you can for yourself. Make yourself happy. Do for yourself. Be a little mysterious.
Okay.
Don't be so available every time a text comes in or something. Like, don't, drop what you're doing. Oh my God, I got to answer his. No, don't do that, because he can feel your energy. Oh yeah, she's right there. Oh yeah. And it's too much.
Okay.
Because then he's going to get real comfortable. Then he's going to start leaning back, you see? That's how energy works. If your energy is coming right at him, he's going to lean back.
Mm-hmm.
So, and to your question of what to do, well, yeah, I mean, you can physically, if you have to do this, I would shut your phone off for a while sometimes.
Okay.
Because sometimes the boundaries that we have to put are boundaries with ourselves first.
I think so too. Yeah.
And saying, you know what, I need to focus on me. So I'm going to just shut this phone off for a little while, shut the, notifications and all that crap,
Mm-hmm.
because I need to focus on me and that little inner child
Mm-hmm.
that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So if that's what you need to do, is physically shut it off, then do it. And then that way, if he is texting you or whatever, he's going to learn that because see, you're teaching him in every moment. You're teaching him how you are to be treated, and what he should expect from you. So if every single time he texts you, you jump on that immediately, you're teaching him that any time you snap your fingers, I'm going to be right there for you. Which is not like, what is that, a maid? Is that a servant?
Mm-hmm.
No. No.
Yeah, it's like, I understand what you're saying. It's just like, sometimes I feel like when you ignore somebody, that it's manipulative, Like,
Oh, but I don't want you to, no, okay, let me back
not,
up. I
no,
don't
not,
want you to
not,
ignore him.
yeah,
That's not what I'm saying.
yeah. You're just saying that it's okay to like get back to him. Like, so if you message me this evening, say I'm not feeling great. I told you just before that we started chatting and recording. It's okay to just turn my phone off and just have an evening for myself and just go for a bath and yeah.
Yeah. And if you, when you turn your phone back on and you see, a bunch of texts came in.
Yeah.
Oh, hi. I just turned my phone back on. I was taking some me time, whatever.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might be a good way to just, because I don't know. I think it's really tempting when you see a message and you like the guy and you're like, oh, he messaged me, you know. It's really easy to kind of to answer it straight away. It's easier. It's easier if you don't see it and you're like just doing your own thing.
Yeah. And that's why, especially in the beginning, if you need to shut it off, then yeah, shut it off.
Yeah.
Because it is very distracting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and really with anything, like if you were working on an important project for work or something, wouldn't you want to like, I mean, sometimes I literally have to shut my phone off, or I'll purposely, unconsciously, whatever, leave it in another room or something. I
Yeah.
think it's kind of on purpose. Like, I don't need to be bothered by that. And I will shut everything down sometimes because I mean, yes, we are multitaskers. Women are really good at it.
Mm-hmm.
But when you really, really need your focus and you want to get a project done or something, shut all that stuff. And what could be a more important project than just being with yourself?
That's true.
That's and that way you're teaching him that, wow, this woman, likes to have time by herself too.
Mm-hmm.
She likes to have time to take care of herself and do what pleases her. You are subtly giving that message that you are a woman who values yourself.
Mm-hmm.
See, so much of the communication that we do is not with our words. It actually is with where we set our boundaries and how we're setting our boundaries, which is not usually a lot of words. It's just very, usually when you're setting a boundary, I think the best way to set a boundary is to just say, talk about how you're feeling. I'm feeling really sleepy right now, so I'm going to get some rest. It was lovely talking to you.
Mm-hmm.
Bye. Because that's another way that women overgive. Oh, I was famous for this one. And I didn't think it was overgiving either.
Okay.
Because here's one of the things that we do, because we're so used to, as children, having our needs ignored,
Mm-hmm.
we end up doing it to ourselves.
Okay.
Like, for example, I would be really tired, and I would, maybe be at a public function where this guy was at. So instead of just taking myself home the way somebody, what I should have done is just say to everybody, I'm really tired. I'm going to go home.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually makes a man want to be with you even more when he sees that you take care of yourself. And you're not going to just hang around to the end. Well, I didn't do that. I was so insecure and needy that I would stay around to the very, very end when, I was no longer having a good time. I was really, really tired, but I wanted to see, like, oh, maybe I'll get a chance to talk with him later, in private, walking out to the car or whatever. You see? Again, I didn't think of that as overgiving. I did not think of it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But when things come to the end and you look back at all these things, all the times that you sacrificed and you put him first in so many little ways that he probably doesn't even know about, right? He doesn't know. But all of that stuff will come back and you'll feel angry at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, why did I put this man up here somewhere on a pedestal? I made him more important than me. All the times I was tired and I really wanted to go home, but no, I stayed because I wanted to, the chance to spend more time with him. And yet what we end up doing, and we complain, my parents did this to me. They didn't give me what I needed. They neglected me, blah, blah, blah. And you have to start becoming conscious of, now, where am I neglecting myself now?
Mm-hmm.
It's no longer my parents are doing it to me, but I'm
That's
neglecting my own needs for
right.
some fantasy guy who hasn't even committed to me, or, we're not even there yet.
Okay. Right.
So, and basically, it's like, as insecure attachment, we're so worried about being abandoned. That's our biggest fear, is abandonment and or rejection. And maybe even some betrayal thrown in there, right?
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things to healing this and becoming more conscious is, okay, what way am I abandoning myself?
Okay.
And you're abandoning yourself when you spend 4 hours chatting with somebody. To me, I would call that a form of self-abandonment, probably. Because it's way over giving. Probably at some point in that you were tired, and what were you actually getting out of it other than a fantasy? And that's another way that we take crumbs from men too. Because like all that time spent chatting, but yet it's time that you weren't out with him actually taking you out on a real date.
Okay.
So you're accepting crumbs in the sense that, oh yeah, we chatted and it was great and blah, blah, blah. But it was all a fantasy, and he never took you out. He never actually made that much effort. And see, that's the thing. Men will show you how interested they are by how much effort they put in. You, if you're putting, the extent that you're putting effort in is the extent to which you're going to be hurt and disappointed in the end. That's his job, is to put in the effort, not yours.
Yeah.
So I'm getting an idea to do some tapping on this.
Okay.
Had to get my computer plugged back in. Okay, we're good. So I want you to just bring up the idea of how much, like, just let yourself feel it, how much you really, really want this guy to like you and to want to be with you.
A lot.
Okay.
It's like almost a panicky feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Bring up that panic right now. Just amplify it if you can.
Yeah.
Okay, follow that feeling back. You can start tapping and just keep your eyes closed. Follow that feeling back in time, maybe even to the very first time you felt this. And just tell me, how old are you?
Like 2.
2, okay. Can you see that little 2-year-old?
I can see, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I want you to just slowly walk towards that little 2-year-old. And get closer and closer. And then I want you to just step inside of her little body and look through her eyes and tell me what's happening.
Oh, my parents just had a fight because my father was having an affair. And he's left my mom alone. And she's really stressed and worried. because we were living in Australia. She doesn't have anybody there.
Okay.
So my dad isn't around.
Okay. So you're there and your mom's there, but she's pretty stressed out herself.
Yeah.
So how is this little child feeling? How is this little 2-year-old feeling about this?
She's so panicked because she's crying and nobody's paying attention to her.
Okay.
And she doesn't understand where her dad is. And she's just getting this like really scared feeling from her mom.
Okay.
She's being neglected.
Okay. Wow, that must be really scary
It's really scary.
because she doesn't know. She's 2 years old. She doesn't know what's going on, but
I think my mom was suicidal as well, but I don't think that I don't think the 2-year-old really understands that. She's just
yeah.
this kind of very dark energy, very dark feeling.
Okay. So I want you to now step into that scene as the adult. Step in and see if that little 2-year-old will let you pick her up and hold her.
Yeah, she let me pick her up.
Great. Just hold her. Tell her everything's going to be okay. Tell her, I've got you now. I'm here now. Everything's going to be fine. How's she doing in your arms?
She's a little bit calmer.
Okay. So I would like to do some clearing using your superconscious,
Okay.
giving some commands to your superconscious. Could you ask the 2-year-old, would she like to have some healing for this?
She says yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can just continue holding her. That would be great. And I'm going to just address your superconscious mind. And you can hold her and continue tapping if it feels right. But you actually don't need to. So all you need to do is just pay attention to what's happening in the scene. Be with your little child. You can continue holding her. And other than that, just observe what's happening as I speak with your superconscious. So superconscious, do you see this event? And if you can see this event and you can safely treat this event, I want you to treat the event and then do a massive change history on everything that needs it here. Okay, and superconscious, now I want you to treat any beliefs, any emotions, memories, parts, other events, anything that's coming up right now into the active experience. And then I want you to treat them all in the perfect order and then do a massive change history and everything that's needed. Okay. So I want to check back in with you. How is that scene looking right now?
There was like a lot of tension there, like a lot of negative, like not like negative, depressed feeling, and that's gone. There's still a little bit of like I can feel my mother's hopelessness with this situation because I think that that's when she actually knew that the marriage was over,
Mhm.
but it didn't. She didn't admit it to herself because she needed my dad for financial support. So she stayed with him for another like 10 years or so.
Mm.
You know, but I think that was the moment that she knew that this guy really didn't love her the way that she needed.
Mhm.
So that's what I'm still feeling. It's like her hopelessness.
Okay. So the child is feeling the hopelessness. Wow. So what number would that be right now that the child is feeling this hopelessness?
It's like an 8.
Okay. But the other emotions, the stress is down and
Yeah, the panic.
the panic, that's
Like,
down. What number would you give it now? You said it's much lower.
it's just like gone down to like a 1.5, I would say.
Okay, that's great. Okay. Okay, so let's continue. We can take this even further and we'll work on that hopelessness. So, super conscious, I want you to go back in time as far back as needed to the original event, whether it's in this lifetime or any other lifetime, any other timeline, an event that is similar in any way, shape, or form to the event that we're treating today. And I want you to treat not only the original event, but every other single event that you can find in this timeline and any other timeline. And I want you to treat them very gently, very safely, respectfully, and only if it is safe to treat them right now. And do so in the perfect order, and then do a massive change history on everything as needed.
um,
Go
I
ahead.
saw like my both of my grandmothers from both sides of my family, and the hopelessness that they felt. They felt very stuck and dependent in their relationships.
Mm.
And I was carrying around a lot of that and this panic that you need a man to depend on.
Mm.
So,
Interesting. So maybe, perhaps, a lot of the panic that you feel every time you start to have feelings towards a guy is actually because it's already been in your nervous system since you were two.
I never thought about that because I always thought, oh, there's something wrong with me, you know. But it totally makes sense that it's like because the panic feels so strong. It's like a uncontrollable feeling. It has been an uncontrollable feeling. Um, so yeah, it makes sense that it started when I was very small.
Yeah. So
Just I can
you're
recognize that panic, you know. Like I can't talk myself down. like, calm down, you know?
Exactly, because it is like wired into your nervous system that when you think about the masculine, a man, this panic just gets re-triggered and you didn't even know why. Because it doesn't actually make sense. But it does now that you can see.
Thank you.
Yeah. So we're going to go even further. Okay. I know. So the hopelessness, where does that feel like it's at right now? I see you're smiling. So
It's gone down a lot to like a 2.
wonderful. And is there any more, if you can find any kind of panicky feeling or
Just the feeling like, oh, what will other people think? What will society think if I am not partnered? You know, that's there.
and who is that from? Is that yours or is that?
That's not mine. That's it's like I usually don't deal with my grandparents' stuff or my ancestral stuff, but it's from like my grandmother on my mom's side, you know. You need a man to have this social status. Society needs to see you as a man.
Okay. But a lot of it is down. Okay, so let's continue because we've got a few more steps and see how good it gets. Okay, so super conscious. This time, I would like you to go into the chakra system and begin to balance all of the chakras, especially the first chakra, the nervous system, and begin rewiring that and clearing that first chakra. Second chakra, third chakra, the heart chakra, and I want you to balance all 7 chakras. The throat chakra, the ability to speak clearly and set boundaries, to feel empowered in the voice. I want you to clear and balance all of these chakras in the perfect order and then do a massive change history and everything that's needed here. How are you feeling now?
I mean, sorry, there was just so much panic inside. It's just like coming up, and
Okay.
I can feel it in my heart chakra as well. It's really, really like this panicky, you know, like thing that was stopping me from being able to just relax and breathe. And now, yeah, I feel much better.
Okay. Yeah. And just when that happens, just know that it's trying to clear. So just take a deep breath. And also, I'd like you to tune back into that 2-year-old. You still holding her?
Yeah.
Okay. How is she looking right now?
Yeah, like she's much, much happier, and she's really smiley, and she doesn't seem so stressed. I mean, she's kind of, you know, she is aware that dad is gone. And that's still kind of a bit, she's a bit conscious of that that my dad isn't around. But apart from that, she feels much happier, much less stress, a lot less like she has to do something to control the situation, because I think that's what happened. I think that the 2-year-old version of me was being neglected, but also felt like she had to do something to manage or control the situation, even though that sounds bizarre. I think that's where a lot of this anxiety comes from, to try to make things happen, you know?
Yeah.
Manage things.
Even a 2-year-old knows if mom and dad, especially mom, start pulling their attention away, she will die. If you can't do something to bring mom back, she's got you're so dependent on her. Literally, it's life or death. So yeah, to a 2-year-old, it's totally survival instinct.
Yeah, I think that's why the panic and this anxiety is so strong.
Yeah. Well, and right now, as you tune into just holding her and you just letting her know, I'm here for you now. I'm going to make it better. I'm going to give you what you need right now. So just continue holding her and letting her process. And if she needs to shake, if you need to shake, whatever you need to do to process. So, and then I'm going to continue giving some more commands to the superconscious. So, superconscious, I would like you to also balance the 5 elements and any and all blocks on any meridian that is connected to this issue right now and to the memory that we're currently treating. And I want you to release any and all blocks to the lung meridian or any other meridian that is involved in this memory. And I want you to do a massive change history on everything after that. Okay. Can you check in with the 2-year-old again?
She's so much happier. She's just like a really happy, bubbly little baby girl.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just smiling at me, she's beaming at me. And it's gone, the whole image is just gone from being really dark and tense and worrisome to just, yeah, just like none of that happened, you know?
Mm-hmm. Is she more playful now?
She just wants me to just hold her, and she just wants to kind of integrate with me and cuddle with me.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
She's not looking around and worrying about what's going on outside. So that's lovely.
Oh, that's wonderful. Okay. So, okay, doing really good now. Yeah, I just feel a lot of light in that picture.
Yes. Yeah.
Even coming from that little baby, I see like lots of light,
Mm-hmm.
lots of happiness. And usually they get really more playful
Yeah.
and we want you to come back with that playful energy. I want you to have that. And she's getting that now. So, okay, so just a little bit more. Let's see how much further we can take this, see if there's anything left. So, super conscious, I now want you to treat anything that might be left in this experience. If there's anything left, I want you to do a massive change history on all of it and anything that's needed. Okay, now I want you to use, with your little inner child, let her know she has a magic wand. We can go back and change any part of this. So just go back in time, change the event, and fulfill any needs that were not fulfilled at that time. You can change anything you want to. How does that feel?
Really nice.
Mm.
It's like, I feel like I had my parents' full attention for once at that age.
Mm-hmm.
Love.
One last thing. Hold that baby again. Tell her how special she is. Tell her how much you love her. And tell her that you are going to take care of her from now on. You're going to make sure that she's going to be protected and taken care of. You can even tell her, I'm not perfect, but I'm really going to do my best to put you first, always. And when it feels right, just hold on to her tightly, hug her, and just feel her merging with you into your heart. That bubbly, playful little 2-year-old. You can carry her in your heart. Mm. So now, think about the guy that you told me about.
Yeah.
How do you feel like whether he texts you or not, or?
I still really like him very much.
Mhm.
But I don't need him to be in constant contact with me.
Mhm.
And I feel a lot less panicked about whether he's going to like me, what he's going to do, if I'm doing things correctly or not, I feel a lot less kind of worried about trying to make things happen and trying to be there all the time and trying to be on my best behavior.
Mhm. Good.
Yeah. So because when we were talking earlier, like I know everything you said was very useful, but it was just kind of like adding to my anxiety because I was like, okay, what do I do? I don't know how to handle this. I don't know like if I should go left or right or like right left, and And now I don't feel like that. I just feel, okay, and I heard what you were saying earlier, but now I can actually not fixate on this person. Because I was so, because that's the thing when you're anxiously attached, you have all this panic and it kind of propels you into trying to see this other human being as the solution for your anxiety. So it's really nice. I'm like, oh, I can just go take a bath and just like not think about this person. And, and he's still there and he's not necessarily going to lose interest in me just because I'm, not 100% available right now.
Right.
But before I was like, oh no, I have to be available. I have to be like there, I have to like make sure that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, then you end up in a relationship and you realize later on that most of the whole relationship you felt anxious. Like you were almost better off by yourself because at least you didn't have to feel the constant anxiety.
Yeah. I'm loving this new technique that you have. It's amazing.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah, because I know like I really like tapping as well. And I like the visualizations that you do. But it's so very powerful, but very gentle as well,
Yeah, I experiment with everything and I'm getting really good results.
Yeah.
So, oh, there's
Thank you.
the boy.
Such a little charmer. Yeah. You want attention, but then when you're on camera, you don't want any attention.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
Yeah, as soon as you want him, oh my gosh, that is so much like dating, isn't it?
yeah, as soon as you try and pick him up, he doesn't have any interest.
Now he wants to run away. That's the way energy works. If you're going at them, they want to run away.
Yeah.
Men and cats are like, I can't figure out why men don't like cats because they have a lot in common, actually.
Yeah. It's true. It's true.
So here's a good question I want to ask you is, so all the advice that I was giving you earlier.
Yeah. Sorry, he's just a bit of a mess here. I can put him out though.
Like you said before, when you're feeling all that anxiety, it's like, well, yeah, I can see that that's good advice. However,
yeah,
would it have been really hard to really follow that advice as long as you have that anxiousness?
Yeah, like there's like, okay, so my friend loves this word actionable. It's like a big buzzword, I think that I understood what you were saying, like in a theory way, okay? But like, I think I wouldn't have been able to take action on it unless we had just done this clearing, because I'm still I would have probably messaged this guy in the next day or two and be like, okay, we have to meet up straight away, to make sure that this is like a real viable thing. And that would have just scared the heck out of him, So I think it would have just fueled my panic because the panic was still there. So it's really hard to think calmly and clearly, like you said, when you're in this flight or fight mode. So I was definitely in this panicky flight or fight mode. And now I don't feel like that. And now like all I want to do is like, oh, I just really want to have a bath and drink some orange juice or like make some fresh juice because I'm not feeling great, So I just want to take care of myself, which is really nice. And not like thinking, oh my God, I have to distract myself from thinking about this person by going for a bath. Because that's what I was thinking earlier, I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to actively like shut off from this person. And actually that doesn't really work because what you resist persists, I was thinking, oh, I'll just turn my phone off. I won't talk to him. I'll just go for a bath. But I know like if I was in the bath, I'd just be thinking about him anyway and be like, oh, So it's like there's a calmness now where I'm like, okay, I can just chill. It'll be fine. And I can listen to what you said now, but like not get so stressed about it and not try to do it perfectly. I think that's the other thing. There was a lot of perfectionism about how to handle that situation with this person.
Yeah.
Which is also a fear-based response.
And see, this it brings up a really good point because this, as this was part of my story. And so I went and I learned everything that I could learn about what you should do, what you shouldn't do. But then it left the other dilemma, which you just so eloquently brought up is that, yeah, you heard what I was saying, you heard my advice, but when you're in a state of fight or flight, you can't really follow that advice, even if it's the best advice in the world. Your nervous system is literally making you do things that you know you should not be doing because you're in a state of panic.
Totally, 100%. And like, I don't, it's kind of crazy because we did this anger clearing the last time we spoke. And I was so angry, I was enraged. And I just kind of like left that and I was like, oh yeah, I'm not really angry anymore, you know? And now we've dealt with the panic. And it's just nice. It's like, I know I'm going to sleep tonight. Like, I wasn't sleeping very well as well. I didn't tell you that, but I wasn't sleeping very well the last few nights. You know, I couldn't sleep properly, couldn't get to sleep. I couldn't stay asleep because I was panicking, you know?
Oh.
So I know I'll just be able to
Was
sleep.
that linked to this guy, this new guy?
Yeah, because, you know, also I have a normal therapist and, you know, she was like, well, you can't date anyone now for 6 months. You need to take time off for yourself. And like, I understand the logic in that. Like, I know where she's coming from. At the same time, though, it's really hard when you are a single woman and you just really want to be loved. And it's very hard to shut off like opportunities or to, you know, to, it's kind of like natural to look for somebody. And so, yeah, sorry, just got a little bit lost, but she told me I had to take a break from dating. And
Yeah,
I don't,
and that's a very common thing that I hear, you know, if someone's going to a regular therapist or even some going to like sex addiction, sex addicts anonymous or something like that, they'll suggest that you have to stop dating for like a year. Actually, 6 months is a short, but usually they say like a year.
yeah,
And it's like, well, the only problem with that is that you don't learn anything by sitting on the sidelines.
I agree.
I would rather you know, date, but at the same time, let's clean up all this anxiety and clean up all the childhood stuff so that you can date in a way that's more discerning. You can actually discern, you know, your own, how you're feeling in every moment and be more conscious in every moment, like what's going on inside of me instead of going, what's going on inside of him, what does he think about me, what does he feel about me, that anxious, like,
Yeah. Okay, that's what I was feeling a lot just before
yeah,
we like that panic of, you know, oh God, I have to make sure that he likes me, you know, and I'm like, oh yeah, he does like me. Yeah, he'll be fine, you know.
well, and the thing is, that's really the most important part is, do you like how you are, do you like yourself, first of all, do you feel good in his presence? That's, you know, as a woman, as a feminine woman, the most important thing is, how am I feeling when I'm with this person?
Mhm.
That should be number one priority. How am I feeling with this person?
Mhm.
Because
But
if,
when you're so focused on what they're thinking and feeling, you are ignoring yourself, you are neglecting yourself. And I hear what you're saying about like sitting on the sidelines because you can't practice setting boundaries or you can't even, I think sometimes you have to walk into the situation that's stressful so that you can feel the panic that's there or whatever, you know, like you don't get, like if I took a time out, maybe I would feel better, but I don't know if I would have healed or cleared the underlying stuff.
right, because you'd still have that panic running in your nervous system. Like it's in your nervous system, or it was. We just took all of that out. But
Yeah.
you see where your nervous system made the connection before, you know, when it comes to men, the panic starts.
Hmm.
It was an automatic response. And like you said yourself, I could not talk myself out of it.
No.
You cannot talk your nervous system out of an automatic response. It just happens. Just like your heartbeat happens, like, you know,
Yeah, I compare it to if someone, you know, is afraid of dogs. and they got bitten when they were a child, and now they're grown up and they know that they're much bigger than the dog and they shouldn't really be afraid of dogs, but they still get this panic and they can't switch, they can't logically stop that. It's like a very visceral response. So,
Yeah. Well, now we've just brought that response down. We've taken the panic out.
yeah.
And you already look so much happier.
I am so much happier. This was bothering me,
And you're talking about taking a bubble bath rather than, sitting around wondering whether he's going to text you or not.
Yeah, it's nice. But the thing is, now I can see things clearly. I'm like, yeah, I know he will text me. I don't need to put any pressure on it. Of course he'll text me. He likes me. I know that he is interested. Okay, I don't know how much he likes me, but I know that I think he likes me. But I don't need to stress about it. I can just kind of enjoy it a bit more, and yeah.
So one more quick thing. I know we've gone kind of long here, but the way to perfectly seal this off is to start thinking about what you want. And since the subconscious mind does do well with visuals and imagery, I want to take you back. And, if we're going to share this with other people too, I want everyone to see this is how you move forward.
Okay.
Going back into one of my favorite scenes.
Okay.
I want you to close your eyes and just see yourself sitting up there on your throne. You're up on I don't know if it's a hill, a mountain, platform, whatever it is, could be a stage even. But you're up there sitting in your queen's chair and it's beautifully decorated. It's very comfortable. And as you're looking around, to the left of you, there's a line of men. Some of them are bearing flowers, maybe gifts of jewelry, maybe a bottle of wine, I don't know. But they're standing in line and they're all anxiously looking up at you and they all want your attention. They all want to spend time with you. And I want you to just bask in that for a moment. There's hundreds, maybe thousands of them. And then I want you to also notice this guy that we've been talking about. He's kind of trying to cut the line, right? He's like right down in front of you and he's like, look at me, look at me. And you're just kind of like, you look at him and you're like, hi there, you're warm, you're nice, you're kind. And then you look over at the line to the left of all these eligible, nice men, good-looking men. They're bringing you gifts, wanting to spend time with you. And you're kind of like not saying it with words, but you're kind of like letting them know, hey, look, the line's over there. If you're really nice to me, I might let you cut ahead of some people, but you got to get in that line too with the rest of them, because I got a lot of men interested in me. And maybe just notice, you're letting one guy come up to you in the throne and he's putting a gift down at your feet. Maybe it's flowers or something nice. And you're very kind and you're gracious and you're nice. And maybe you even offer him a seat. He can stay and talk to you. But you put somewhat of a distance between the two of you. That's your boundaries. And then maybe you bring another guy up. Let him put his gift at your feet. Let him take a seat, again, with some space. And maybe you get, 2, 3, 4 guys, and they're all vying for your attention, bringing gifts. And you just enjoy their company. Enjoy what they're bringing you. And knowing that you are the real gift here. You are the prize. And if it feels right, you can let this guy, when we've been talking about, you can let him cut in front of the line a little, give him a special pass, and he can sit with the other guys, and each of them maintaining a distance, and you be kind and nice to all of them equally. And just bask in how good it feels to be so desirable, so appreciated. And when you're ready, you can let them know that it was very nice spending time with you all. And it's time to say goodbye for now. And thank them for the wonderful time and for the gifts. As you say goodbye to them. How did that feel?
Oh, that was divine. Yeah.
See, it's a way of communicating to the subconscious. This is how it needs to be. They're all equal. There's no putting one guy ahead of all of them. No, he
Yes.
hasn't earned it yet.
Okay.
He hasn't done anything yet.
Yes.
Give him a chance to be a man and, and vie for you if that's where this is going to go. May not. I mean, we don't know. The guy could ghost you. I mean, it's there. The possibility is there. But the thing is, you are not going to leave you.
Okay.
That's why you holding that 2-year-old, that's you having your own back.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying to yourself, you are the most important thing in the world to me. Your little 2-year-old is the most important thing in the world. All of this other stuff is pales in comparison.
So true.
Give the guy a chance to prove that, he's actually worthy of you putting attention on him, So, and no need to rush anything.
No need to rush anything.
So much easier though, isn't it, when you manage the inner stuff?
And yeah, it's because otherwise you're just trying to fight against this kind of panicky urge that you feel.
Yeah.
And that's just going to cost a lot of energy. So
This way you get to be gentle with yourself. If you feel it coming up again, remember, just tune in and say, how old are you? How old are you right now?
Yeah.
And spend time with that little inner child, whatever age she presents as. Spend time with her, hold her, calm her, tap with her if she needs that. Instead of when you panic, putting your energy and your focus out there on these guys who who haven't done anything to deserve that.
Mhm.
Put the focus inside
Yes.
first. That's your most important person in the world is you. When you can love you the way that you really deserve, the way that your parents weren't able to, when you can finally give that to yourself,
Mhm.
that's when you're going to attract the man, the one who is going to be able to love you that way as well, the way that you deserve. But remember, you're not going to attract anybody to love you any more than you love yourself. Because from an energetic point of view, that's not possible.
Okay.
You're only going to attract like energy.
Mhm.
So the way to get love is love yourself
Sure.
first. And this is how we do it. This is the how. You know, everybody says, well, you gotta love yourself first. This is how you do it. You start within.
Totally. And I liked what you said the last time about like we're generating this opportunity, this person, you know,
Mhm.
like you give yourself love and then it kind of emanates from outside of you and it kind of just it's reflected back to you, generated. Yeah.
Because now, if you're loving yourself and you've got your own back and you know, I've got my back, I know how to set a boundary. I might not always do it perfectly. It's okay, but I'm going to do my best.
Mm-hmm.
But if you come from that place of self love, the way that you behave in the world and behave around these men is going to be completely different. Completely different. And it won't rely as much on, okay, no, what am I supposed to do here? Because you'll just know,
Okay.
you know, you know, right when you need it, you'll be like, oh wow, I remember when Alyssa said this, and it'll be easy. It'll just be easy. It won't feel like awkward or just set that boundary or to just talk about how you feel and know that your feelings matter
Yeah.
more than anything.
Thank you so much because I felt really like queasy and headachy and just very tired because I wasn't sleeping very well and I just feel like a lot calmer now. So the physical side of this is really gone as well.
Wow. So you think a lot of that physical stuff, the symptoms was really more emotional?
Yeah, because I was just pushing down this anxiety that I didn't know how to deal with.
Yeah.
So,
Is it okay if I share this video?
of course, yeah, I would be very happy. I'm sure there's other people who have the same anxiety.
I think this is going to be so helpful to so many people. Yeah,
Yeah, that's
because
good.
they can actually follow along step by step with what we did.
Yeah, because I think like I know this is about my situation, but there's a lot of like stuff that you can use if you have the same problem, I suppose. I hope so, you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing this. I do appreciate it, and you're helping
Yeah.
so many other women. I know that you are. And I'm going to go ahead and pause.